perfect ride. Visit JeshmanMazda.com today.
First tonight, just a few days after applications opened for recreational marijuana dispensaries, several cities in the area have enacted bans on these dispensaries conducting business inside their jurisdictions. Eli Burgett spoke to several city officials today, so why are these bans being enacted?
Well, there's many reasons why these bans are taking place. Despite the legalization back in November of last year, cities like Oakwood and Kettering have placed both permanent and temporary bans on the sale of recreational marijuana within their cities. After speaking with representatives from these cities, I learned the reasoning behind why these bans are being enacted.
It's mainly to give more time to consider all the issues in light of the fact that regulations at the state level aren't, we're not sure exactly what all of them will be.
On the evening of June 11th, the City Council of Kettering voted to extend the moratorium on the recreational marijuana businesses within the city. This temporary ban means that the sale of recreational marijuana will be illegal within city limits until June of 2025. On that date, pending any groundbreaking new information, they will revisit the issue. The decision by Kettering came just 1 week after the City Council of Oakwood enacted a permanent ban on the recreational marijuana dispensaries within their city as well. Even though it is legal statewide, Ohio is one of 20 states in the U.S. that allow the cities to decide whether or not they will ban marijuana dispensaries. And for cities like Kettering and Oakwood, they have decided to err on the side of caution. Back to you.
Applications are now open for Ohio medical marijuana dispensaries to apply for the recreational licenses, as Eli was saying. But despite cities having moratoriums, dispensaries are still preparing for the boom in demand. Lydia Bice spoke with state leaders to clear up any confusion about the new law.
Since marijuana became legal in our state on November 7th, there have been more questions than answers when it comes to when dispensaries will be able to distribute recreational marijuana and how much cannabis you'll be able to purchase. The Ohio Division of Cannabis Control says that there won't be one set day when sales can begin, but medical marijuana dispensaries can now start applying for their recreational marijuana license. Once they submit their application and an inspection of their facility is completed, they will be able to distribute marijuana for recreational use. Lisa Burton, the marketing outreach manager for Bloom Medicinals, says that her agency already submitted their application and is waiting to hear back.
We're really confident that we've taken the measures to ensure as soon as we get the green light and get our dual license that we'll be able to open up for recreational sales and provide that same good customer care.
The applications are going to be awarded on a first come, first served basis, so the sooner a dispensary submitted their application, the sooner they'll hear back from the Ohio Division of Cannabis Control. Many expect to get approved by the end of this month. Back to you.
And tonight, this former Kettering Middle School choir director has been indicted on child pornography charges. This man here, 37-year-old Matthew Kohler, was indicted on 6 counts after police say they found photos and videos on his phone. Now, they were tipped off by a 19-year-old who said when he was in middle school, he exchanged in sexual messages with Kohler. Kohler posted bond and is now on electronic home detention. He's set to be arraigned later this month.
The state fire marshal is now investigating the large barn fire in Logan County that killed 44 horses. That 60,000 square foot building had both people and horses inside. Luckily, everyone was able to get out. One person did suffer a burn injury, though. The state fire marshal will be working with local authorities on that investigation.
And as it starts to heat up later this week, we're going to have our first air quality alert of the year, which is going to be issued for tomorrow. Right now, we're sitting at a 93 for air quality, but tomorrow it's forecasted at 105, and that's for Clark, Darke, Greene, Miami, Montgomery, and Preble counties. So really all over the Miami Valley. Any reading over 101 is considered unhealthy for sensitive groups. The Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission is reminding all of you to make sure you're taking breaks and staying hydrated during outdoor activities.
All right, here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Sky Cam. Not a cloud in the sky that we can see here. Let's check in with Natalie for an update.
Yeah, a warm one today, and when we get that warm, kind of stagnant air like we are expecting for tomorrow, that's when we get those air quality issues. So please do remember that as you step outside for the day tomorrow with that air quality alert in place. We have temperatures right now in the 80s, 81 in Dayton, 82 in Troy, got 83 in Sydney. So all of us sitting warm and right around what we typically see for this time of the year. But it is a lot warmer than yesterday. 7 degrees warmer in Dayton, 9 degrees warmer in Wapakoneta. And yeah, we're going to add about 10 more degrees on our forecast, not for tomorrow, but by next week. And in fact, by tomorrow, we'll see temperatures climbing. I do think we could see some 90s back around the area. But as far as what we're expecting for the rest of the evening, temperatures cooling into the lower 60s by early tomorrow morning with a clear sky. Going to time out the rest of the week coming up in just a bit.
A somber celebration in Newtown, Connecticut. It is high school graduation day, and for the survivors of the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary mass shooting survivors as well. About 60 members of Newtown High's graduating class survived that horrific day when 20 of their classmates and 6 teachers were killed. The day is bittersweet for the survivors. They're, of course, excited for the next chapters of their lives, but they're never going to forget those who should be experiencing this moment with them.
It's hard because, you know, you have these big moments in your life, things that are supposed to be so exciting, but they get clouded by this in a way that we want to be remembering our friends and we are going to keep them with us, but it's also something that we wish we never had to deal with.
The victims will be honored at tonight's graduation ceremony. Class of 2024 will be wearing green and white ribbons on their gowns. Each is inscribed with "Forever in Our Hearts" to remember those victims. Many of the survivors have joined the Newtown Action Alliance to advocate on behalf of anti-gun violence efforts.
Today also marks 8 years since a gunman walked into an Orlando nightclub and opened fire. 49 people were killed at Pulse, that's a popular gay club. It's the deadliest attack on the LGBTQ community and one of the worst mass shootings in the U.S. The city of Orlando holds an event every year to honor the victims, their families, survivors, and first responders. It all starts with ringing 49 bells to remember the lives lost.
Well, inflation cooled down more than expected. The latest Labor Department numbers showing the consumer price index used to measure inflation didn't rise from month to month for the first time in nearly 2 years. Still, prices are up compared to this time last year as the cost of things like food and housing remain high. Carly Van Cleave spoke to families trying to find ways to keep up.
The report says prices on everyday goods have risen 3.3% in the last year. This comes as the Federal Reserve makes their decision on interest rates. Families I talked with say the rising cost of pretty much everything is making it hard to make ends meet. The cost of living much higher than what many families say they can afford. Joanna Hardy feeling the impact.
Everything is so expensive that you have to penny pinch. I penny pinch every day to just make it through and make a meal for my babies.
Inflation, a rocky economy, and the up and down housing market, each a part of the everyday struggle for countless families. Wednesday, those looking for a bit of assistance, like Sherry Smith, gathering at Coda's produce giveaway on the east side.
The ends aren't meeting and need help, and so thought I'd come out.
Many people who are thinking about home ownership right now are a little bit concerned and worried about high interest rates or down payment costs or taxes.
David Barenbaum with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development says HUD is encouraging people to keep track of their finances and put a real plan in place if they want to eventually buy a house. In Columbus, Carly Van Cleave reporting.
Well, just the last hour, House Republicans passed a vote to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. Elise at the Now Desk, so what is all this about?
Adam, this actually stems from the Garland actually refusing to turn over audio of President Joe Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur on his handling of classified documents. The final vote today was 216 to 207. Speaker Mike Johnson called the outcome, quote, a significant step in maintaining the integrity of our oversight processes and responsibilities. However, in response, Garland said it was, quote, deeply disappointing.
The Dayton VA has now renamed its women's clinic after a veteran who made a large impact on the Dayton community. Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams Early commanded the 1st Battalion of Black women to serve overseas in World War II. After leaving the Army, she worked at the VA, volunteered around the area, and founded the Black Leadership Development Program in Dayton. Her children, they were in attendance today and say this ceremony fully encompasses who their mother was.
Frankly, one of the things that she has given me and is really that you are always involved in your community, and you're always looking at what's the best way to do that? How can I make it better? Sometimes I can't, but at least you try.
And Early says he thinks his mother would be very pleased with the dedication. Dayton Public Schools releasing a new transportation map that will go into effect next school year. This is a look at it. Since 2010, the district has divided the map into quadrants. This map just splits in north and south zones. The district says the new map will greatly expand the number of students eligible for transportation. DPS says this new map also has more school options, siblings able to ride the bus together, and overall efficiency in transportation.
Well, when kids are fed, they are fueled to thrive. But for many kids that rely on schools for their meals, summer can be challenging. Dayton 24/7 now is partnering with Feeding America for Sinclair Care Summer Hunger Relief. Scan the QR code to help provide meals for children and families here in the Miami Valley.
The federal government wants to ban medical debt from credit reports. How many Americans will be affected and what this means for your next big purchase?
A 19-year-old Reds fan tased after running onto the field at Great America in his court appearance today and the investigation into the incident.
Plus, I'm tracking some 90s in the forecast. I'll let you know when they arrive. That's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
At $24 at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
That's no flying saucer. That is a very impressive shelf cloud rolling over Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Wind shear twisted this contrail over Arkansas. The colors come from sunlight being scattered at sunset. And the Blue Ridge Mountains are known for their fantastic views, including this butterfly checking out the flowers.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
The Biden administration just proposed a new rule that could improve millions of Americans' ability to own a home or even buy a car. The proposal would ban medical debt from credit reports. Jeff Harris explains when this ban might go into effect and how many Americans could actually be impacted.
If approved, this proposal could go into effect next year. And according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, 22,000 more people every year would be able to buy a home.
A credit consultant based out of Ohio, Sean Oudeman, tells us medical debt showing up on credit reports is a common thing.
Every day we talk to people with that situation.
He says just one third-party collection, even from a medical collector, can result in a major hit to your credit score, even if your credit is considered great.
One third-party collection is a 90 to 110 point hit to that 800 score.
Now, this proposal by the Biden administration isn't the first time the federal government has tried to address medical debt for Americans.
Now, just last year, 3 nationwide credit reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, removed all paid medical debts from credit reports. They also then took steps to remove all medical collections that were under $500.
This is not a forgiveness at all, unlike, the student loan debt, which has been under consideration.
Now, the CFPB is also hoping this new rule will help address some of the incorrect and confusing medical bills that some patients receive in the mail, which can then lead to lengthy disputes. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
Well, not a lot confusing about the weather. It's going to get hot, very hot, and then it's going to get even hotter.
Yeah, definitely so. Tomorrow's going to be hot. But, before we get even hotter.
Do we have a meter of hot, super hot?
Yeah. Scorching hot.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Here's a look at what's going on. Not quite obscene yet, but by next week, here's a look at what's going on. Mostly clear skies, looking good. So high pressures to our southeast, so we got southerly winds. Humidity is going to begin to increase a little bit as we head into our Thursday, Friday time frame. Not unbearable. We actually have a front off to our northwest, though. You can see it's bringing showers through parts of Iowa right now, as well as into Wisconsin. That's actually going to be bringing us a chance for rain tomorrow night. Very small chance, but we'll take what we can get at this point. By early tomorrow morning, we wake up into the 60s. Tomorrow afternoon, right around 90 degrees. It's going to be a hot one. And then notice by late into the day tomorrow night, this is about 1 a.m., we are going to see a complex of storms weaken as it approaches the area, but you can notice here it pretty much just falls apart. So a few showers, maybe a storm late into the day on Thursday. If that complex holds together, we could see an increased chance for some thunderstorms, but right now that's not looking like the case. And then we cool off actually Friday, 80s, still very warm. Saturday is going to be our coolest day of these next 7 days, but I'll talk about that scorching heat coming up.
A story from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal. A multi-million-dollar development in the Miami Valley recently announced their next tenant. The Breakfast Club Cafe and Coffee Roastery is opening their second location into the Wright Station in Springboro. It's going to be at the corner of Main Street and Central Avenue. The Wright Station is still under construction, however, but this addition brings the total development to more than 60,000 square feet. We have all the details right now at Dayton247now.com. You can find this story and others just like it under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the News tab.
All right, so a 19-year-old Reds fan in court today after running onto the field last night at Great American Ballpark. William Hendon appeared in court on charges of trespassing and obstruction, wearing the same Johnny Bench jersey he had on at the game last night. So take a look as this video posted on social media shows. Investigators say Hendon disrupted the game when he got onto the field, the bottom of the ninth, ran up to Cleveland Guardians center fielder Tyler Freeman. He runs into left field as a police officer starts chasing him. Before he stops, does a backflip in front of that police officer, then tries to take off again, but he gets tased. Cincinnati police releasing a statement this afternoon praising the officer's quick actions and saying the whole thing will be investigated just like any other use of force is. The judge allowed him to get out of jail without posting bond, but he's banned from that ballpark for now.
Legendary NBA player and executive Jerry West has died at the age of 86. The Los Angeles Clippers say he passed away this morning with his wife Karen by his side. Now, West was one of the most famous players in the league. It was his silhouette that became the inspiration for the NBA's logo. West started his career with the Lakers back in the 1960s, shortly before the team relocated to LA. During his 14-year career, he was a 14-time NBA All-Star.
Day 2 of mandatory minicamp for the Bengals in the books. Today's practice featuring the same cast of characters as yesterday. Star wide receiver Jamar Chase making a second appearance, but no sign of fellow wide receiver T. Higgins yet, as he's in search of a new contract. Now, despite shifting from safety to cornerback, former first-round pick Dax Hill believes he's already made an impression in the new role.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot more work to be done, and that's something I'm going to, continue to prove and do the best I can every day, and really proving to myself that I can do it.
The team wraps up the final day of minicamp tomorrow.
Well, heat is in the forecast, especially as we head into next week. So we got a brief cool down, as I mentioned, and by a cool down, it's not going to be too significant. We'll see 80s by Friday, Saturday, and then the humidity and the heat really creeps back in. So we're going to see this dome of hot air, and you can see the clockwise flow. This is where we have this heat dome setting up for the start of next week. And then notice how it strengthens a bit as we look into our Tuesday, even into our Thursday. We almost have a bullseye right over the Dayton area. So we are anticipating the heat to persist, not just for the start of next week, but likely into the middle and maybe even end of next week too. So it's going to be a stretch of some 90-degree days. And it's been a while since we've been this hot. Hottest we got last year was 93 degrees. So we got 80s these next several days, 92 by Sunday, and then by Monday, there you see 96 degrees hanging out in the mid-80s or mid-90s, excuse me. Factoring in the humidity, feels like temperatures will be around the century mark.
Sunset at the Market is back tomorrow night in Dayton. What you can expect if you plan to head on out.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Champ is crowned.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Sunset at the Market is back tomorrow night in Dayton. It is a fun night featuring live music, food, and of course art. So we sent Tage Joshi out to 2nd Street Market for a sneak peek of what you can expect.
The 2nd Street Market right here in downtown Dayton is a great place to find delicious food, sweet treats, and all kinds of other artisan crafts. It's a very cool place where you can support all sorts of local creators. And I want to make sure you know about not just this market, but a special event they are doing this week. It is Sunset at the Market. It's a recurring event here at 2nd Street Market. It'll be happening tomorrow evening where you can come out and enjoy. Now, the main thing you need to know, the theme for this week's event is community and inclusion. So there's going to be a bunch of different vendors with different aspects of community and learning about community building. Plus, there'll be other, of course, lots of arts and ways to get involved with the community. There'll be a petting zoo here, food, of course, produce, and of course, even some live poetry. All that and so much more happening at the 2nd Street Market tomorrow evening. My friends, for now, back to you in the studio.
Well, it was a warm one today, but overall the month has been fairly normal. We've seen some cool days here and there, especially last Sunday where we had 75, past couple of days, especially Monday where we only topped out at 65 degrees. So we got a lot more of the month of June to go, but I have a feeling